you're able to leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. So without further ado, I'll be your host for today, and joining us is Imam Wasim Kempson as our guest. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. How are you today?
Wa alaikum salam. Very well, jazakallahu khairan.
Shaykh, we done the elbow bump outside, so do you want to do it again?
It's easy for you, but I need to go all the way across.
I can't close the Shaykh.
Khalas, bismillah.
All right, so Shaykh, as we start every show, I'd like to ask you for a short reminder, and then we can get started with some questions from our viewers, inshallah.
Okay, you're not going to expect that every break now, are you?
Oh, no.
Okay, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wa sayyid al-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters and viewers at home, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He protects us all, He keeps us safe.
Ameen.
And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be guided to that what is best. Of course, the future is, of course, unknown to us, but it is especially in these times quite confusing in that we're not talking about something necessarily which is, years and years away and talking about, the unseen or something that we don't know about, but we're talking about something which from 1 hour to the next, the situation is changing. And from an aspect that it's actually impacting how we are practicing our deen. This is the real test for all of us. That when somebody is afflicted with different tests, but on this one, which doesn't, a test that doesn't affect your religion as such or the practicing of your religion, this one does, because many masajid have closed for the correct reasons, even though there are those who feel, and quite rightly so, they feel very sad and very alarmed about the closing of masajid. But as you know, that the masajid aren't completely closed in that sense, in that there isn't possibly the adhan being made and maybe the imam and maybe a handful of people to ensure that the name of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is mentioned in those large masajid. And this is something that needs to be respected. And the decision of those who are ahlul ilm, or those the people of knowledge, they should be respected. And I would advise everybody who is involved in a masjid, or anybody who has a position in the masjid, whether it be a committee member or a trustee member, which you should remember that doesn't qualify you to make Islamic decisions which affect the practicing of people's Islam. There's a distinct difference between a person who is qualified to give rulings which will impact the community, and a person who may be a committee member or a trustee member, which they do a great job, I'm sure, mashallah, tabarakallah. But when we're talking about Islamic issues which require decisions to be made according to that what is closest to the Quran and the Sunnah, based upon principles, that doesn't give you or guarantee you a right to make those decisions without consulting the people of knowledge. And bearing in mind that in many places in the Quran that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala tells us to refer back to the people of knowledge, and likewise in the Sunnah, the placement of the scholars, this is something that we shouldn't do away with. The Prophet ﷺ, and I mentioned this is the last thing inshallah ta'ala, that the Prophet ﷺ said that after me you will see many differences. اختلافات كثيرة. And these اختلافات, or these differences and types of confusion as it were, that the Prophet ﷺ gave us a solution for that. So that the Prophet ﷺ said, عليكم بسنتي, that you should adhere to my sunnah, وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين من بعدي. They should adhere to the rightly guided way, the way of the rightly guided khulafa who come after me. And hold on to it with your molar teeth. So the Prophet ﷺ prophesied that there will be differences of opinion, khilafat in the future. But we should always go back to the people of knowledge, especially in times of fitn. And what only adds to the fitnah are those people who make statements who are not qualified. Maybe you can speak Arabic, mashallah, tabarakallah, you've done some work, doesn't qualify for you to speak on behalf of the ummah, doesn't give you qualifications or the right to speak on behalf of an entire community. So it's very important for us, if you feel doubtful, you're not sure, the very best thing for you to do is just to keep quiet. Don't say anything and allow the people of knowledge to speak on the issue, so that you're not questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah, which eventually we will be questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah, why did you say this? And why did you say that? You caused confusion, you created fitna, and sometimes you say things you can't take it back. It's gone, it's there. So, and sometimes the decision is made by a trustee or a committee member or somebody who has, a high position within a masjid or something like that. It doesn't qualify you to make Islamic decisions. So all of us need to really know our placement in all of this. And if only that you could find that there is one statement by one person or one body that we all follow. There is no difference of opinion. This is an ideal situation, but we don't have that. So the less voices we have, meaning the fewer people that we can refer back to who are in agreement, would be better for us, as opposed to having every kullu man habba wa dab, whoever has a liking for speaking, whoever is able to walk and speak, wants to say something. Maybe it's better just to remind people to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to remind people of their obligations, not to make things up as they go along, but to refer back to the people of knowledge. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair for your answer. Thank you to everyone who's watched along with us so far. Just a reminder that we're live on Ask Eman right now, and you're able to give us a call on 0203 515 0769 to ask your questions to our Shaykh today. You can, if you're calling from the UK, you're able to use this number. Otherwise, if you're calling from outside the UK, you can use our WhatsApp number where you can send your message questions to as well. And that number is on 074 2239 8833. That's 074 2239 8833. So Shaykh, I was reflecting earlier on the, how everything's closing. The schools have finished today or they've closed today.
Yeah.
The same with many companies and workplaces. Everyone's working from home.
Yeah.
And when the masajid closed, I think it was very sad news for all of us. And I personally started panicking, and I even messaged you, Shaykh. I was like, Shaykh, what's this about? This is scary.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was reflecting today, and I thought, subhanAllah, everyone's staying at home, Shaykh. Mothers, fathers, children. It brings the value back, whether you like it or not, to the family unit. That people are going to be spending time with each other now.
Yes.
Kids are going to get their rights from their parents regarding their time. And so on and so forth. So I wanted to ask you, this is what I was thinking, Shaykh. I wanted to ask you, what tips or advices can you give families now that are together, that children are home, fathers are home, mothers are home, siblings are home? What's the best way to be utilizing their time, or some advice in terms of utilizing a portion of their time at least?
Yeah. So if I can mention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that there may be asa an takrahu shay'a, that it may be something that you don't like, وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, but it is better for you. So there may be circumstances that it's not of our own choice. Obviously, this is the qadr of Allah Jalla wa Ala. I wouldn't have chosen that test for myself. This is a worldwide test as it stands at the moment. We wouldn't have necessarily chosen that for us because we want to make our lives easier. We want to get through things. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us in a way that is unique and with a perfect wisdom, and how this is affecting every single individual, every single family, society, city, country, nation, continent, and worldwide. Everybody's being affected in different ways. So it is very important for us, with regards to your question now, how we can take something from this and not to be bogged down with details that may not necessarily be the most important thing for us to be talking about right now. There may be things that are happening which are very far away, don't affect me directly. What I need to concentrate on is myself and my family. Okay, and if I'm able to help then beyond that, then I'm required to do that as well. Okay, so there's an opportunity for us to re-engage with our families. Maybe there were those who are working a lot of the time and they don't spend very much time at home due to work commitments and whatnot. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written now that you are going to be at home and spending time with your family. So try to ensure that the time that you have at home is beneficial time. Don't waste your time. Try to do things which will strengthen your Iman. And that can be done in any shape or form, that's as you like. If you want to read Quran together, It doesn't have to be, you know, that you set up, you know, we're going to suddenly become scholars at home. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be something that you all enjoy, something that is, you know, that you're all interested in. But the point is that it brings the hearts together. Allah.
Sorry to stop you there, Shaykh, but I think it's a good point. Maybe we can stay on it after the break. We're just going to take a short break now for a few minutes, brothers and sisters. And once we're back, you're able to give us a call to ask your questions, inshallah. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone watching at home, and welcome back to today's Ask Eman show live. We're going to be here with you, brothers and sisters, up until 9 p.m. tonight. So during this time, you can give us a call on 0203 515 0769 to ask your questions live to our Shaykh. Otherwise, you can use our WhatsApp number, email address, and if you're watching along on Facebook or YouTube online, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh, after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome back after the break. Yep. So we're going to go to our next question, Shaykh. Our first question today from WhatsApp is, I wanted to ask that if I distance myself from someone thinking they have the corona, am I a sinner?
No. I mean, if you think somebody's got the coronavirus, I'm not sure. I mean, if you see them coughing, maybe then that's a sign. Or they're profusely sweating, then maybe they have a fever. Then, yeah, okay, there's not a problem. If you need to distance yourself from somebody because of that. So there's a fly here, sorry. If you need to distance yourself from them, inshallah, there's no problem. In fact, that's probably the sensible thing to do. No.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is, what can I do if the person I was married to never paid my mahr? This is a very common issue that revert sisters have to face.
Allah al-Musta'an. Allah al-Musta'an. Yeah, you're right. So the mahr that is to be paid to the sister is a debt that remains in the account of that individual who hadn't paid it. So therefore, if that person dies with that debt, then this is a very, very serious issue. Very serious issue. Debts in general are a very serious issue. To the extent that the Prophet ﷺ would ask, does this person have debts? You know? So, and would there be anybody to pay their debts? So, and especially with sisters who have embraced Islam. Just as the individual was as, I want to word this correctly now so that people don't, are not offended by what I say, but just as they were careful enough to choose their words to convince that individual that you're a good person, that you're a sound person, you're a trustworthy person, that you should carry that out after the marriage. And just as you may have promised many things, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated you to pay the mahr. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy, and the brothers should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concerning the mahr that is due to the sister, and they should fulfill the agreement concerning the mahr, whether it's to be paid straight away or whether it's to be deferred at a particular time, whatever they agree upon. But nonetheless, that the mahr, whatever's agreed, should be fulfilled. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is, Assalamu alaikum. Before Ramadan, I would like to build the habit of praying Salatul Layl, the night prayer, which is prayed in the last third of the night. In London, how do I calculate the current time of praying this prayer? Jazakallah khair.
Okay. So, the best time to pray the night prayer is the last third of the night. You work that out by seeing what time Salat al-Maghrib starts, and then working out how many hours it is to Salat al-Fajr. Okay? So let's say, for example, or you can do the maths. Okay, so whatever time it is between Maghrib and then Fajr, divide that time by 3, and then you can work out what time the last third of the night is. Inshallah ta'ala.
Thank you, Shaykh. Considering that people are at home more right now, Shaykh, due to the virus, how should people encourage? Would you encourage families to come together, maybe start the night prayer together? Does this bring more blessings to the home?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a good practice if you can, while you're at home, knowing that maybe the children don't have to go to school tomorrow, maybe you're not going to be going to work tomorrow. So yeah, maybe half an hour before Fajr, just pray together, wait for Fajr to come in, and then you can have a bit of a lay-in after that. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for you to do things like this. Barakallah fiqh.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. Our next question is from WhatsApp, and the question is, Assalamu alaikum. The greeting is Assalamu alaikum. The question is it allowed for a man to give away his stepdaughter in the context of marriage if the biological father is still alive?
No. So in a situation like this, that the biological father is the sister's wali, the daughter, that's her father, and he is the wali, and he has the guardianship with regards to the marriage. If for whatever reason he can't be there, he can designate, he can say to the stepfather, you can take my place, and you can be the one who gives away, the wakil for the purposes of marriage, then that's fine. But it's not allowed just to say, this is my stepfather, and that's going to be the person who's going to be the guardian for the marriage, and skip out her father completely. That's not allowed. Okay, this would be a nikah without the permission of the wali, and would be an invalid marriage. Okay, so the biological father should be contacted to explain as to what part he wants in the marriage of his daughter, whether he wants to be there or not, and if he doesn't want to be there, then just designate somebody else to do that job for in his place. No, wallahu a'lam.
In the case that the father's not around, Shaykh, what happens in this situation?
So if you say not around, I mean if he's passed away.
Passed away, can't be reached.
Well, there's different scenarios here. So if he's passed away, then guardianship passes onto somebody else. If she has a son, then and the son is old enough, then it'll go to her son. If she has no children at all, then it go to her brother, her full brother. If she has no brothers, they will go to her paternal uncle. So there's a sequence of people. Or even the grandfather, I should say before that. If the father's not around, it goes to her grandfather first. But if he is not around, then it goes in the sequence as I mentioned. That's if a person has passed away. So the other scenario is that if she doesn't really have contact with that person, well, this is an issue which they really, because it can get, there's so many different scenarios, they should go to personal knowledge and explain about what the best way of resolving the situation is, and tell a person who's qualified to give you advice on that. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Just a reminder for everyone watching with us right now at home, the number to call us on is 0203 515 0769 if you have any questions you'd like to ask. It can even be about the current virus that's going around. You all want to ask anything within an Islamic context which you may feel affects your life. You'd like some advice around that, or advice for your family or friends, then you're able to give us a call for that as well. For everyone else watching online, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section on YouTube or Facebook, inshallah. So our next question, Shaykh, is Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Was the Quran revealed with harakat or without? Because I heard from some Muslims that it was the Sahaba that put the harakat to make it easy for us. So I was just wondering.
Okay. So the Quran, when revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, was revealed verbally, and then the Prophet ﷺ would then command the companions to write down the Quran, to compile it, not in one book, but in different ways, in different parchments and skins and so on and so forth. Now, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were no harakat. In fact, there were no dots. No dots. So if you think of the letter Jim, which has the dot in the middle, there was none of that. Or any other letter for that matter, there was no dots or harakat. Later on, during the Khilafah of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu an, it is mentioned that he heard an individual recite the Quran incorrectly for some verses from Surah At-Tawbah. And then he asked one of the Tabi'in ad-Du'ali to compile and to do something to resolve the issue. It is said that this is one of the opinions, that he was the first to command and have the harakat written in the Mus'haf that we know today. Wallahu ta'ala alam. So just in terms of time frame, that Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu was Khalifa from 35 after Hijrah to 40. So we're talking about 25 years plus after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the harakat and the dots were put in the Mus'haf. No. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you. Our next question is from YouTube, and the question is, after making ghusl for a deceased person, is it permissible for one or more of the people who did the washing to make dua for the dead person loudly and the others say Ameen?
Yeah, so it's not specified at a particular time that, when you are washing the deceased, that you are to, if you do it spontaneously, then not a problem. Not a problem. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive that person. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for that person. And people to say Ameen to that, la haraj. There's not a problem in that, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, Shaykh, and on the same topic, can a menstruating woman make ghusl for the deceased?
طيب. So there's nothing, there's no evidence to prohibit a woman who is on a monthly cycle, that prohibits her from participating in the washing of a female deceased woman. There's no evidence to say that. I mean, I am aware that some say, no, you cannot. But there's no evidence to state that. So it would be permissible for her to participate in the ghusl of a deceased. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this part of our show. Thank you so much, Shaykh, for your answers. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in with us so far. We're going to take our next break of the show. And once we're back, we're going to continue going through our questions on YouTube, on WhatsApp. And also, if any of you would like to give us a call to ask your questions live on the show, then you're able to by picking up the phone and dialing the number coming and going at the bottom left side of your screen, inshallah. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to today's Ask Eman live show. We're going to be here with you, brothers and sisters, live for another 30 minutes, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
We're going to go to our next caller of the show now. Assalamu alaikum to Brother Mahmoud. I believe from Birmingham. Welcome, Mohammed. That was my mistake, brother. Mohammed from Birmingham, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm well, Jazakallah khair. And your question for us today?
Obviously, yeah.
Yep.
Basically, man's been getting like bare racism in Birmingham and that. And I want to know like what the Prophet would think about that. So.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for us?
Yes, I would like to know how like you like treat racism and that.
Okay. All right, then stay on the line and our Shaykh will give you the question, inshallah. I mean the answers.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, subhanallah. First of all, I start with إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. That the most honored in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has the most taqwa. One who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the most. So that doesn't mean if you're an Arab, or if you're an Asian, if you're a European, or wherever you're from, African, that doesn't come into the context, okay? It doesn't matter where you are from. If you want to be a close servant and a Muslim who is beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is unfortunate that in societies that people are judged by or looked at and judgments are passed by the color of their skin. This is completely foreign to Islam. This has absolutely nothing to do with Al-Islam. But Islam came to break down the barriers of looking at people and judging people by the color of their skin. There was an incident between two companions actually, radiyallahu anhuma, that one companion said to another companion that you are the son of a black woman. And then this was brought to the attention of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the companion made that comment. In fact, was so upset and was so sorry for their comment that he placed his face on the floor and said to that companion that place your foot on my face on the floor to show that how despicable of what I said is not acceptable in any way, shape or form. That the Prophet ﷺ said to that companion that, that you have a characteristic of the people of Al-Jahiliyyah. So it is unfortunate that Muslims, Allah al-Musta'an, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to that what is best, looking at each other and judging each other for the color of our skin. We should not do that at all. It is a disease in the heart, and it is something that we need to root out and call it out for what it is. It is completely unacceptable. It is un-Islamic. It is, in fact, inhumane to judge people. Not just an Islamic issue, it is inhumane to look at people for the color of their skin. It is haram, not allowed, and I cannot emphasize this enough. But it exists in communities, unfortunately. And, being on the end of racism, I can only try to, that the person will feel extremely hurt. And at times to respond to that, it's important to respond in the best way. idfa' billati hiya ahsan. To respond in the best way. That losing your temper and maybe saying things is just, it won't solve that issue. But tell them, remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they are Muslims. That to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that this is something from the times of Jahiliyyah. It is a disease in their heart that they need to remove. And that they will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that disease in their heart. And Allah is best.
Thank you, Shaykh. We're going to go now to our next caller, Brother Abdul Aziz. Welcome to the show. How are you today? Assalamu alaikum. Brother Abdul Aziz, are you on the line?
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Alhamdulillah. And your question for us?
Yeah, my question is, I've been divorced before, but I'm finding it very hard to find marriage. So I was just wondering, is it because of my sins I'm finding it hard, or is there any black magic or evil eye that may prevent me from finding marriage?
Okay. Do you have any other questions for us today, brother?
Yeah, another question is, what does Islam say about the coronavirus?
Okay. All right, then. Stay on the line and our Shaykh will answer your questions now, inshallah.
So, if somebody's finding difficult in finding a spouse, it's okay. You look at yourself. Maybe you are falling into sin. So, make istighfar, repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it easy, make your situation easy, to forgive you, regarding whatever the issue is. And I'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you a pious spouse. But so you may come across somebody that you are interested in, and it doesn't happen. But be positive that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved you from something. That person wasn't right for you. And the right person, inshallah ta'ala, will come at the right time, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, okay? So try not to dwell too much on the past. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness of what happened in the past, and try to be positive and take the right steps in trying to find a spouse. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you a pious spouse, brother. Ameen. As for what does Islam say about the coronavirus, this really is a lecture. It depends on what kind of perspective you're talking about. There are many advices concerning disease and plague and tests and how we should deal with the tests. Be patient, of course. Try, by whatever possible means, not to make the situation any worse. Try to contain the situation by whatever mechanisms can be in place. So if there's a plague, as is mentioned, that you don't move into that place, nor you move out. Okay, this is as we know that the Prophet told us that. But it's a very broad question, and to be honest, answering that may take a while to answer in any great detail. But as it stands at the moment, there's a number of issues that, be close and rely on Allah Azza wa Jal to make things easy for you and for all Muslims and everybody really. And to follow the advice, medical advice as well, that's given on by the professionals and governments and so on and so forth, to ensure that, because this is very important. And as a side point in that, sometimes when we're looking at what's happening, we're looking at what's happening in my local area. And that's how I see the coronavirus, only from what I see in my area. Not realizing that there are people who do have a national kind of view and a worldly view of what's happening. So people they make decisions based upon what they see nationally or on a world view. Whereas I'm just looking at it from my own borough. And I say, well, how can they make such decisions? They don't know what's happening, they don't know what's going on. Try not to fall into that, okay? That sometimes our perspective of the situation is at times very, very restricted. And we're just looking at one part of the jigsaw. So try to follow the advice that's given by the ulama, by the scholars, by the medical professionals. And that once, we fall into line with this, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the situation easy for us, and Allah knows best.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to come from our next caller from Bradford. So, assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and what's your question?
Hello, I am Max Hughes from Bradford, but my Muslim name is...
Why you batty man?
All right.
Yeah. Why you batty man? What are you saying? Can I donate a bag still?
No, you can't. Okay, we're going to move on to our next caller now. Okay, do we have our next caller on the line? Okay, no caller on the line. So, okay, we need to cut this call. There's a bit of misbehavior going on. Okay, anyway, we move on from that. So for everyone else watching at home, you're able to give us a call on 0203 515 0769 to ask your questions on the line. And no questions like those, because that wasn't really a question from our last caller. May Allah guide us. And you can also send your questions to our WhatsApp number on 07422398833. For everyone else watching online, either on Facebook or YouTube, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. Yeah, all right then, Shaykh. So we'll
people
move
are
on.
affected in different ways, aren't they? People are, they react in different ways concerning the situation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yuslih al-hal.
What do you do, Shaykh? All right then. So, okay. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp. And our question, Shaykh, is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can a wife give sadaqah money to her husband?
Yes, you can, of course. If a wife wants to give some charity to her husband, by all means, this is a great thing to do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you all.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from YouTube. And the question is, bear with me, Shaykh. The question is, Assalamu alaikum. What do I do? I feel like I've been losing the relationship I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over the past 2 days because of stress. Shaykh, I'm scared. What to do?
So in times of fitan and times of calamities, it's of the utmost importance not to lose hope and not to feel that the situation is beyond being resolved. You know, we are in need of everybody, inshallah ta'ala, playing their part in resolving the situation. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you strength, make it easy for you, and by the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they will find tranquility. Naam, Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you so much. This brings us to the end of this part of our show. We're going to be back for our last part of our show after this break for a few minutes. So once we're back, brothers and sisters, you can pick up the phone, give us a call to ask your questions, or send them to us. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to everyone watching at home, all of our viewers, brothers and sisters and families, to today's Ask Eman live show. We're back for the last part of our show now. That's going to be here for about 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, do give us a call. If you'd like to send your question via message, then you're able to send it to our WhatsApp number or email address. And if you're watching online on Facebook or YouTube, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section. Apologies for the profanity on the last call we had, the last part of our show. So we're live now. If you'd like to ask your questions, please do. And we're also going to be going back to our YouTube viewers now to address your questions as well. So if you have any questions, you're watching along on YouTube, as I said, you're able to leave your questions there as well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Our next question is going to be from YouTube, Shaykh, and the question is what should one do if one is finding it really difficult to get married? Is there any supplication to find a righteous spouse?
I don't know. On myself, I don't know. A specific dua for a spouse. I'm trying to think, maybe there's an ayah that comes to my, I think in my mind, but it's not coming to my mind now. But in general, if you just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever language you are speaking, to grant you the goodness of this life and the hereafter, to grant you ease in your affairs, to grant you a pious wife, or a pious husband, depending on who you are. So you be continue with this. Take the right steps and try to find somebody. If there's an online platform which has good Islamic principles adhered to, and if you've got friends, and you put the word out, inshallah ta'ala, then something will happen, inshallah ta'ala. Be patient, don't lose hope, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the best. Ameen.
Ameen. Thank you so much, Shaykh. We're going to go to our next caller of the show now. So, assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Hussein. I'm calling from the Midlands. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm well. Jazakallah khair. How are you, brother Hussein?
Alhamdulillah, and assalamu alaikum to the respected Shaykh as well.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, brother Hussein. And your question for us today?
It's a question maybe a lot of brothers and sisters are thinking about today. It's never been in our lives where we've never had a situation where we've not been able to go and pray at the mosque.
Yeah.
And obviously it's something that breaks a lot of the brothers and sisters' heart. May Allah make it easy for us at this hard time. So I just wanted to ask the Shaykh, because we've not been in any of these times, was wondering whether the Sheikhs, the scholars could collaborate between themselves. Would it be permissible for maybe an Imam to do a Jama'ah on obviously the broadcasting channels like television, and the brothers and sisters could pray at home in congregation? Could something like that be suggested?
Okay. Thank you so much for your question. Do you have any other questions, brother Hussein?
Jazakallah khair. That's the question. If you answer that humbly, that answer will be sufficient.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for your call. Jazakallah khair. You're welcome to stay on the line for your answer, or you can just stay tuned, inshallah.
Okay, so with regards to Al-Jumu'ah, there's been a lot of questions concerning today, and I assume it will appear next week, if the situation is as it was today. Where can we pray Jumu'ah? Can I do it in my home? Am I allowed to follow a live feed, whether it's on television or online? Those who are asked, we have to bear in mind that as much as one wants to attend the masjid, to be part of a jama'ah or a jumu'ah, at the end of the day we are restricted by what Allah Azza wa Jalla allows us, and that what we can find in the Quran and Sunnah, okay, and using these principles. Now, it is not permissible, not allowed for us to follow a jama'ah which is fed to us through online or on TV. It's in a completely different place. The lines are not joined with them at all, so therefore it wouldn't be permissible for you to follow a Jumu'ah which is somewhere else, and that you're following on the TV or on a device or something like that. This would not count for you. Otherwise, then you might as well just follow all of your salawat. You follow all of your prayers. And this is not permitted. And remember, at the moment, emotions are running high. I do understand that. But you have to bear in mind that decisions to temporarily close the masajid, either entirely, depending on where they are, or partially, maybe there's an imam and a few people to establish the Jum'ah, as has happened in Masjid al-Nabawi, for example, today, and some other masajid here in the UK. These decisions were made, of course, with a very heavy heart and weren't made easily. No one wants to make a decision where the doors of the masjid are not open to every single person. No one wants to make that decision. But we have to bear in mind that we're in a situation now that in our lifetimes we have never faced on a worldwide scale. We've never faced this before, okay? And we are facing a clear and present danger, which people are dying, okay? People are dying, they are passing away. The reality of that, of people passing away, hasn't hit a lot of people, okay? The reality of that may not affected you, or you don't understand the reality of it because it's something still abstract and still far away from you. So you still have, well, I want to go to the masjid and I'm okay and I'm feeling healthy, which for you may be. But then when you open the masjid and then maybe some uncle comes and he wants to go to the, he insists going to the masjid, okay, and then he bumps into somebody and then he catches the virus and la samahullah, may Allah forbid, that person could die of that. This is how serious the issue is, okay? So closing the masajid and asking brothers and sisters not to attend large gatherings isn't, to accuse people of nifaq, for example, of hypocrisy, and you close the masajid so easy. This is not the case at all. Those people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave responsibility in these areas, they will be questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah, but their intentions, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, are safi, that they are pure, and they only want the best for the community. So whatever decisions are made by those in charge, we listen to them, inshallah ta'ala, okay, and we don't go against that. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to improve our situation. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that maybe there's something that we don't like, but maybe it is better for us in the long run, okay? Maybe, who knows, Allahu a'lam, that, things return in a good way, let's say in, I don't know, month, 2 months or 3 months. Then people have a yearning to return to the masjid. Yeah. So then you have double the amount of people attending the masjid, or triple the amount of people attending the masjid. People who never went to the masjid in their lives are now coming to the masjid. So subhanallah, we do not know how things will end up. But as it stands at the moment, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for us, okay? People aren't doing something out of the qadr of Allah azza wa jal. They're making their own decisions and disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. This is what Allah azza wa jal decreed for us. And who knows that in the future, the Muslims return to the masajid much stronger. The Muslims return to the masajid with more people attending and more lessons and so on and so forth. Sometimes you need to go through a difficulty for you to realize the value of something. And at times, this is a well-known saying, that you do not know the value of something until what? Until you lose it. So may it's a reminder for us all that the masjid is an extremely important place for us all. They are centers of learning, they are centers of teaching, they are centers of salah, centers of iman and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not to be utilized for any personal endeavor. The masajid belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for people to worship in. And inshallah ta'ala, when they reopen, we should value the ni'mah that we have masajid and utilize them in the very best way. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. I was actually reflecting earlier today about that Salatul Fajr is one of the most beautiful experiences someone can experience or have part of their life. And it's a sad thing to think you can't go and have that. Of course, all the salawats are nice to have in the masjid, but particularly Salatul Fajr. Yeah. It's
no doubt. But you lose something for a little while, and then you have a yearning for it. It builds up. Yeah. And as I mentioned, that always look on the optimistic side. Try to find the good in the situation. Then in the future, inshallah ta'ala, when the masajid, when they do reopen, let's remember how valuable they are to our communities and the impact that they can have on our communities, and allow us, and as a community, as a Muslim community, let's really move forward, okay? let's stop quarreling. Let's stop, bashing and people's ideas and this and the other. Let's be positive Muslims. Let's adhere to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, what we find in the authentic sunnah, and look forward to these things, prepare ourselves. That when this is time for planning even. That when the masajids reopen, let's make a concerted effort. Let's do new things. Let's do something for the community. Okay, instead of, no, we have to close the doors and why we don't, why we can and this. And when the masajid are open, you just go back to the old ways. The way that you were, the way that you were before. We don't want this to happen. The masajid, inshallah ta'ala, will reopen bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. At the moment, you can't make umrah. Yeah. Maybe, subhanallah, a person hears that. And they say, I can't make umrah now. Well, the first opportunity I can make umrah, I'm going to make umrah. So you find thousands more people making umrah, thousands more people want to make hajj if that is possible. So remember these things, brothers and sisters, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it easy for us all. Ameen.
Thank you so much today for your time, Shaykh. That brings us to the end of our show. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in with us today, everyone who's called and sent their questions. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock at night, inshallah, for our late night show, Ask Eman. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.